You are listening to Beyond the Verse, a Star Citizen podcast. A show dedicated to Cloud Imperium Games, Star Citizen, and Squadron 42. Whether you fight, explore, unite, and/or trade, we bring you news, updates, interviews, reviews, and analysis. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a pour of Radegast, and join us as we go Beyond the Verse.
Launch sequence activated.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Beyond the Verse, Star Citizen podcast. I'm your host, Sulyce, and this is episode 86, Luminalia 2954. On today's episode, segments include, obviously, Luminalia, the gifts that come with it, the referral bonus, the lore tied behind it. I've summarized the lore entry for this time. We're going to go into the roadmap update, the 4.0 patch updates that are now across all waves in the ePTU. Super exciting. A quick note on the Missing Best in Show awards and what CIG is saying about those, and more. So it's going to be a somewhat shorter podcast. There's not a lot of revelations, not a lot of news to get into since last week's episode. Last week was one of our longest, hour and 45 minutes. It was also catching up on 2 weeks worth of stuff. This is not going to be that episode. So I think it'll be short and sweet to summarize basically 4.0, where we currently are, and Luminalia, what you can expect in the community. I hope this finds everybody well. I've got a lot of personal things going on right now. Nothing bad. I'm moving offices with my work, so that's kind of exciting. We're going from a nice building to a really, really nice building. Same area, so there's movement and there's changing of desks and all that. If you're like me and you like your routine and things set up the way they are, this kind of break in that comes at a very interesting time with Christmas and all the December holidays and everything else. So that's kind of exciting. I've also decided to invest in Pillars of Exile, or Path of Exile. There we go. Path of Exile 2. It just entered early access a couple of days ago. Yes, this is not Star Citizen related. Bear with me. But I did go ahead and invest in Path of Exile 2. Never played the first one, but I have a lot of friends who actually prefer PoE over Diablo. And I actually enjoyed Diablo. I play Diablo, all 4 of them. So this will be interesting. I'm going in that direction in between patches, obviously. I'm obviously staying with Star Citizen, but it gives me and some of the community, we have a few members of Soul Provision who are joining me over there in Path of Exile. Our guild in Path of Exile is actually called Soul Provision because I'm not that creative when I'm when I'm entering a new game like this. So that'll be fine, just to kill time between now and whenever. I mean, 4.0 is evidently releasing in the next couple of days. 1.0 is probably going to be 2-3 years out, in my opinion. Squadron 42 is a year out for 2026. So there's a lot of dead time between now and then. You got to fill it with something. And before I filled mine with Baldur's Gate, right? Amazing game, phenomenal game. I'm sure when The Witcher 4 comes out, I'm sure that'll be something to fill time as well. But yours truly, obviously, will maintain Star Citizen. This is my home. This is my passion, clearly. Just wanted to share that with you. If you want to, join me in Path of Exile, by all means. It's Sulyce, right? Like, everything I do is in Sulyce, so Steam. Add me as a friend on Steam. And we'll go from there. So enough of that. Star Citizen related. First off, I've been doing a lot of edits to one of our Soul Provision org nights from 2 org nights ago. So I just want to take a second. I want to celebrate my board of directors. So the other 3 that you saw a couple episodes ago, I think like episode 85 or 84, I just want to thank them. I want to thank Groza, Marauder, Mustang, and everybody else who was involved in planning the murder mystery. This thing was fun. It was super fun. It was 2 hours aboard my 890 jump called the Elegance of the Void. We took that out about halfway between Crusader and the Pyro jump point just to be away from everybody. And we were, again, aboard the 890 jump, role-playing it up. We were celebrating a major accomplishment that Soul Provision achieved. And then somebody ended up dying. And this is all planned, all staged. But somebody ended up dying, and we had to find out using clues. And these clues were masterfully crafted. Amazing clues, amazing backstory. Every single person involved received their own card. It was a PDF of a slide of their backstory and kind of how they would pick up on the clues. It was amazing. So I just want to celebrate that. I'm still editing the damn video. There's some of those involved that have already released a video. By all means, go check them out. But I'm still editing ours, which will end up being a bonus episode here on the podcast. But that was 2 weeks ago. Freaking phenomenal. And then last night, right? So last night I had this brilliant idea. Bear with me. All right, brilliant idea. I'm thinking, all right, it's December holidays. We want to do a gift exchange. There's like a concept called the White Elephant Gift Exchange. Go look it up. Now, it's actually really fun to do in corporate settings or among friends and family. So we were going to, last night, since Luminalia started, we were going to go to the little holiday cove that's underneath underneath New Babbage in Microtech. There's like a Christmas tree set up. It's the YouTube thumbnail for this episode, but there's a Christmas tree set up, the presents scattered everywhere. There's actually a wreath hanging up on the archway that says Star Citizen on it. An amazing screenshot opportunity for you and your org. So we were going to do that, and then we were going to quote unquote shop around the verse in a one SCU box, like a store all container, putting items, just random crap into that box. And then we were going to do a gift exchange next Thursday, right? So for 7 days from yesterday. And then it hit me. 4.0 is going to be a complete wipe. It's going to wipe everything. It's going to wipe currency, reputation, items, everything. So you see the break in my plan? Like we were going to do this massive gift exchange, which I guess you do it for the moments, you do it for the screenshots, you do it for the camaraderie and fellowship, sure. But all the items we were going to be giving each other were going to be gone. Or, where I kind of think this is going to go, or 4.0 launches between now and then, which erases all of our items, but no one's going to care. No one's going to care about a white elephant gift. They want to get into Pyro and explore. So the last night and the future org nights for December, they're shot. I have no idea what to do. It's going to be a lot of fun regardless. We always have fun. I would love to hear what you and your orgs are doing. I have obviously Keenan or Space Tomato. I've got his org that I'm close to. I've got a lot of other orgs that I'm following as well to kind of get ideas, and we're like brainstorming some. But how are y'all finishing out the year? It's a very weird time, and this is a great segue into the show and its segments. What are we doing? Well, as gamers, as an org community, what are we doing between now and 4.0? Because really nothing is worth it, right? And I don't mean that like in a negative, critical way. It's just reputation. Are you going to go grind reputation in the next couple of days just for it to erase? No. I mean, are you going to save up money and get that, weapons kit for your ship? Well, no, it's all going away. So I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people have gravitated to the ePTU this time around. Yeah, it's a chance to get into 4.0. It's open all waves now, so everybody has access to it. But I feel like everybody's kind of moved over into that direction, and they've kind of abandoned the live PU in this current moment. My feelings, no data to support it. But before we get into all of that, before we get into the 4.0 news, and before we get into really the meat of Luminalia, let's get into From the Community.
Incoming message.
All right. I didn't ask a poll on Spotify last week, and I don't know if I'm going to continue doing so. And the reason for that is I usually like writing my polls on Twitter. A lot more of engagement, a lot more insights. I kind of like bringing in opinions that are not only our listeners and viewers, but also of the broader community. So I'm kind of not struggling. I'm debating whether or not that's the path going forward in 2025. So I didn't do a poll. Let me know how you felt about that. If you really wish we had a poll in Spotify. Otherwise, if you follow us on socials, I like asking polls to the broader community. But obviously we did have the comment section open up. So let's go ahead and share our screen. I'm going to go through the comment section. And here we go. So this first one is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. This is from Anna, or Prime Entity. They write, would it be possible for us as listeners to donate AUEC or Alpha UEC to the podcast? And there'd be like a little stat on the BTV website, UEC donated. I love everything about this. So, and this comes at a very important time of the game, where we saw in the notes, we saw CIG come out and say last week, they said, hey, it's going to cost a lot more to run your ships. There's a massive concern with the Polaris and how expensive it was going to be to refit and refuel. And so as we look at capital ships, as we look at larger ships, especially in a Soul Provision or in your organization, you're going to need in-game currency. And in this current moment, it's not gated. It's not like anybody can send anybody currency, right? So this is actually a really brilliant idea. If you don't want to donate your disposable income to what we're doing, which that's fine. I mean, I want to be very transparent about that. This would be a great other option. And so now I'm kind of toying with, how does that work where I continue to earn your trust? Because I know I'm trustworthy. My people, my friends, my family, my organization knows that I'm trustworthy. But it sows a lot of doubt when you start sending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of UEC to a gamer. And it's not like a protected account, or it's not like a protected guild bank or something. Like, how do you know I'm not going to use it for anything else? And so, and that's fair. That's fair feedback. So I got to figure out, do I create like a dummy account? It doesn't really solve the issue, I don't think. But do I create a dummy account where that's where the money goes? But I think it's a brilliant idea. I think the concept behind it, because we will need a better way of paying for things inside of our organizations, unless that all changes, which very well could. Brilliant idea. Moving on to Call Me Teach. Quote, I think it's best for people to temper their expectations about 4.0. I also think people need to look back at previous year ends and see how they had released. Almost all holiday patches are dumpster fires. Yes. And nothing generally gets done about it until mid-January after their break. If anyone thinks hopping into 4.0 on day one is a good idea, I implore you to do a little soul searching before you throw yourself into that fresh pit of despair. Preach it. Call Me Teach. Preach it. I can't agree with you anymore. Now, my previous experience this past couple of days in the latest build, the 46500 build of 4.0, has actually been amazing. It's actually been really, really good. Now, granted, I chose Crusader as my permanent residence. I didn't jump. Again, I'm holding on to that until we can do it as an org. So I haven't been to Pyro in the latest build, but Stanton is flawless. Again, that's my experience. I'm sure some of you are punching your steering wheel right now, or you're yelling at me, but my experience in Stanton was flawless, which is promising. I don't know what that means for when it hits live PU. I feel like we always get really confident. Right? I always feel like we get really confident when we play in a PTU, like before 318, 320, 322. We get really confident in that situation, and then it hits live PU and something happens. I don't know. I don't know why the live PU has some, curse to it. But what was nice and like tolerable in the PTU burns in hell when it hits the live PU. So I agree with you, Call Me Teach. That is, absolutely great advice. Bravo One writes, if any listeners are hesitant to joining the org, or any org for that matter, do it. Just do it. Sulyce and a few of the others know my story. Small group play, group stopped playing. I played solo for mainly 3 years. My 4th year I joined Sol. It's the best decision I've made. I've had a ball playing with Star Citizen with a group. It's been incredible. The people in Sol are truly amazing, and Sulyce, our guy, truly an amazing person on camera, and off camera he's no different. One of a kind dude. That's my TED Talk. Dude, man. It's humbling. It's humbling to read that, and I've read that obviously 2 or 3 times at this point before this recording. I appreciate that. Humbled, honored. Anytime it comes unprovoked, like I sincerely appreciate every word. I'll take credit for the podcast, right? Obviously, I've built this from the ground up. I own the branding. Really haven't had any help in doing this, so I will take credit for the podcast, but the organization, we just got lucky. Now, I've ran orgs before, or guilds, or whatever, or companies in New World. I've owned and operated organizations before. So that piece, the structure, the vision, okay, that's whatever. That's me. That's fine. But the people are what make up the organization, and we have amazing, truly awesome individuals. Y'all heard our board of directors a couple episodes ago. Very well articulated, very brilliant, coming up with the murder mystery, just genuine, awesome individuals. Go down through the ranks. We have incredible humor. I mean, we got some great individuals that bring that comic relief no matter how bad the game is. So we could have a 2-hour org night where only 10 minutes of it is gameplay, and it's some of the best time I've ever spent in a game because of the people. I have said this before in the last 8 years, well, really in the last 20 plus years since the military, but here's my mantra. Mission first, people always. Have your vision, have your mission, go and pursue that mission, but never to the detriment of the people around you. That is what I think is true leadership, regardless of being in the service and serving the military or creating something like an organization within a community. So thank you for noticing, Bravo 1. Blessings to you, buddy. All right. Down Bad PK, quote, I have been playing the ePTU with a buddy over the last week or so. We haven't explored much or done the jump. We have been doing the contested zones, and when it all works, it has been a blast. Hey, thanks for writing in. I think that's one of your first time writing in. I agree. So I haven't done the contested zones yet, but I've heard a lot about it. It's Jared Huckabee's favorite thing about 4.0, which we'll hear when we get into Inside Star Citizen. I can't wait to get into it. There's a lot of rewards. Something got leaked. I'm not gonna ruin that here on podcast, but some of the awards got leaked, and honestly, it's a badass award. It's worth going through and doing all the contested zones, but that is just another element. Hopefully it works. That's just another element to get really into the game outside of the typical game loops, right? All right, here we go. Sean, this one's also a really good one. So again, a proactive thank you, Sean. Sean writes, hey Sulyce, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Of all the ships in concept, which one do you want to see the most in game, with all its promised features and added included? And which game loop or mechanical system do you want to see implemented the most? Finally, which direction do you want Star Citizen to head towards in terms of the community? Are we there? Or are we falling into a different type of player base as you read this now? Do you like these kind of questions? Let me know on Discord. Love the feedback. So I already have reached out to Sean inside of our Discord, inside of Soul Provision. Absolutely. I love these questions. It generates the conversation. I would do an entire episode on from the community just because of the dialogue. It's almost like a typical podcast where you'd sit down with a guest host and have that dialogue back and forth. This kind of does that. And I hope you enjoy it as a listener or as a viewer. Let's dissect this. Okay, of all the ships in concept, which one do you want to see the most in-game with all of its promised features added? Look, there's three. And I know that defeats the purpose of your question. But there's three, and I think for three completely different reasons. So let's start with the least of the three. Idris. I want the Idris out. I want the Idris out. It is like your closest thing. Well, I mean, it is a capital ship. We have other capital ships in the game, but it's just the RP factor, the role-playing factor of the Idris looks promising. I love the shooting range. I love everything about it. The massive cannon that's on the front to like just wipe out anything in front of you. I can see that truly being a fun ship to fly. Okay, move that kind of aside. I think the two, and I'm going to surprise you with one, and I think the other one's pretty obvious. The one I'm going to surprise you with, it's the Kraken, but it's not the base Kraken. It's the Kraken Privateer. So if you think about Soul Provision being a logistics and kind of trade organization, that trade piece is going to be huge. We have base building. We want to build up our base, all of that, but we also want to be Stanton's most, customer-centric company. That's a direct quote from like Amazon. Amazon's Earth's most customer-centric company. We want to be Stanton's most customer-centric company. So we want to build out the tools. We want to build out everything that is needed to make commerce or to make the merchant gameplay happen. So just the philosophy of that game loop is what's really driving me, to be honest with you. But empowering or making that part of the Kraken Privateer's existence, that is super exciting to me. First off, the Kraken, it's probably the closest thing to an actual like USS Lexington or a destroyer, but I immediately go USS Lexington because I've been on that before. But it's the closest thing to that. It's a carrier, so you've got this major landing zone. You have garages, but inside of the privateer you have shops. So instead of the Dragonfly Bay, you've got shops. And I just love the idea. It almost like in Star Wars, right? Star Wars, I'm going to insult all fans out there. I'm so sorry. But the massive brown box of a ship, of a ground asset that's like driving on the sand, and those little brown little dudes come out and they take the droids. I know I just insulted all of you. My bad. but that kind of idea excites me about the Kraken Privateer. So yeah, I think that's going to be super awesome, but it's the features that come with it, not necessarily the ship itself, but the features that come with it. And then I think this one's pretty obvious, but the Javelin, absolutely, 100%. 100%. Even more so than the Bengal. So fast forward when you have your space station as an org, we saw in Citizen Con they promised you'd be able to craft or build a Bengal. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. The amount of times that you would take that out and actually do anything with it, you'd probably end up protecting that more. You'd probably end up, that's like a huge asset. You would probably get more use and playtime out of a Javelin. And so for me, the Javelin is where it's at. The RP factor, the organization, up to 80 people running that ship, like that to me is like an org night, if not like an org week or 2 week endeavor. The main asset is your Javelin. Maybe it's flanked by some hammerheads and Polarises. I think we've done this before. Whatever you call multiple Polaris. But I love the idea. Basically, the Squadron 42 gameplay video that we saw in Citizen Con, like that basically the setup is what I envision. But even for regular org nights, you'd have your command and control up there in the Javelin, and then you would have obviously your fleets. I was Army, so I'm gonna still call them platoons, platoons and companies. I know it's squadrons, whatever. But that is what I'm most excited about from an org operational standpoint. So game loop wise, Kraken Privateer, Javelin for literally everything else. Cool. Which game loop or mechanical system do you want to see implemented the most? I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to see like commerce. I want to see the merchant trade game loop. Right behind that is exploration. Like we don't have a really good exploration loop. Going and discovering new locations and then recording that into your Mobi-Glass, which then gets communicated to your org. I think that would be fine. Maybe not to the entire server because that wouldn't make sense. But imagine a game loop, exploration game loop, where you and the 270 we have in Soul Provision, we have a night where we just go explore, like pyro launches. Let's say Pyro launches. All right, we need an exploration night to lay the land, to get a lay of the land. So go out and explore. Got Carracks, right? We got not Andromedas. What's the Aquila, right? The constellation Aquila, all the exploration vehicles, the Odyssey when that comes out, right? Go deploy. Get as much intel from all the planets as possible, and that goes into like your guild bank or your org bank, and then your org has those locations. No one else does. You have to go and earn it. You have to be part of an organization that does, but I think that influences and encourages org play as well. But I think that would be phenomenal, right? And the first step of an operation, here's my military background coming through, the first thing you do is intel. It's 100%, whether it's human or SIGINT, like you're going to get intel on your objective. So 4.0 drops, all hands on deck, long range surveillance, go execute. Get all that intel. And then we're up in our Javelin, right? The board of directors, the Javelin, we're looking into, okay, where do we need to go next? So we probably need materials, sources, we need resources. So we need to connect it to previous known locations. Then we need to know what the resources are and then start making trade routes within our organization. This is before combat. You're not going to go straight into combat. That makes no sense. Like, well, why would you do that? But you need intel, you need resources. Then you can start planning your combat operations. See where I'm going with this? So in an actual military operation from cradle to grave, you would be looking at exploration first. And we don't have that. Not yet. And then which direction do you want to see Star Citizen head towards in terms of the community? This one's tough. This one's tough because some of the onus is on us, the community, right? I think organizations like Soul Provision, like the Garden Initiative, I think we're kind of headed the right direction. We're doing what we can with the game, and I think that's 90% of the battle, is having an org that has that vision and the ability to, you know, adapt, improvise, and overcome, which you need in Star Citizen. So I don't think we're there. I don't think we're there to answer that part of the question. I think a lot of it's driven by the community, but for Star Citizen to lead, we're nowhere close. Nowhere close. We saw in CitizenCon some of the tools necessary to be closer, but we need a better HUD system. We need a better communication system. I loved when they briefed about friends list, enemy lists, entire organizations that you can make an enemy, right? So they automatically populate as a color. Like, these are all great things. An in-game calendar, right? Because not everybody's going to be in Discord and engaged and active in Discord. So I think these are all things that need to come around, and that's just base, right? That's baseline. Go to Path of Exile, go to World of Warcraft, go to New World, Elder Scrolls Online, and those community tools are pretty sophisticated. We don't have that. So CIG needs to have the vision, which it sounds like they do. They briefed it in CitizenCon. They need to have the vision. They need to have the tenacity to follow that vision, regardless of the game changing in the next couple of years. I don't know. It's an uphill battle, but again, I can't stress this enough. Some of that's on the community, and we as community leaders, I'll count myself as one, need to actually action on that action. All right, 2 more comments. Michael James Bolton, congratulations on all the success. So cool. Thank you so much. Last episode, we talked about everything that Star Citizen or that Soul Provision has been able to achieve, and the podcast. We went through the year in review. And so I appreciate you saying that it has been an amazing ride so far, and much more to come. And then Dakota Riley just got this in an hour ago, so good timing on your part. Quote, I love the Dying Star paint. They really fit the Drake aesthetic. Aside from that, 4.0's release has been a back and forth topic for me on whether it will get rushed out or if it'll get pushed to Q1. But after the sudden push to waves 3 and 5 in the last couple of days, I think we will see a 4.0 live release before Christmas. It's definitely coming in hot for landing, just like me piloting sometimes in game. It's not sometimes, buddy. It's every time you pilot, we clench and hold on to something. and not just for landings. Okay, the Dying Star paint. Yeah, I love the paint, and it does fit Drake 100%. So we were looking at the December subscriber flare last episode, and that's what they're referencing. Yeah. So if you watched the Inside Star Citizen, the patch watch, or what we're gonna watch here towards the end of this episode, I mean, Jared Huckabee doubles down. He doubles down and says, we will get this out before the end of the year. At this point, it's happening. It's going to happen before the end of the year. And so we talked about it last episode. I'm gonna stick with my prediction. Like it'll be pushed out next week, if not this weekend. If not this weekend, it'll be next week, because they need to be able to hot fix before they go on vacation. And I don't know if they're gonna have a skeleton crew that rotates during their vacation. I imagine they probably would. Most companies do. But I don't know. They're going to need some sort of runway before the end of next week. So Q 4.0 will be out by the end of next week. I truly think so. Otherwise, it'll be mid-January before they even try to release it again. So it's already live to all PTU. So all PTU has it starting last night. So I don't know if the results come in and they're somewhat palpable and the game was somewhat playable. At this point, just pull the trigger, just rip the Band-Aid off and kick the kick the community out the window. You know, it's funny. I go back. This is several years ago. I was going through airborne school, and we had 2 or 3 individuals that went right before me that were just scared. They were just scared, and they started locking up. And I just, for some reason, that memory of standing up, hooking up, and shuffling to the door, right? Like that whole thing, and then like locking up at the very end and hesitating to go out. You don't hesitate, right? Like, you know this. If you've been through airborne school, like, you don't hesitate. That's how you get kicked out of the school, because you have to hit a drop zone, and if you delay the whole entire team hitting the drop zone, it becomes a major safety issue. I remember them literally kicking these 2 people out, like literally just basically screaming, kicking everything, just throwing them out the door. And that's kind of what I feel like CIG is about to do to us. It's like, you know what? Like, we're kind of wishy-washy. We're kind of like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't launch for it. Tough shit. They're going to kick us out without parachutes. We're just going to be like, damn. That's what I truly think this is going to be like. I don't know. We're in for the ride, guys, and you have a great podcast to land on during your time of woe in the next several days. Okay, speaking of which, let's get into This Week in Star Citizen. Here we go. How funny. All right, happy Monday, everyone. Last week, the doors of the Tobin Expo Center closed on the 2954 Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, or IAE. We want to extend a huge thank you to everyone who traveled from all corners of the verse to be part of it. Safe travels as you traverse the verse. They missed an opportunity. Safe travels to your next destination, and we look forward to seeing you again at IAE next year. The year may be wrapping up, but we're not done yet. Luminalia is just around the corner, and it's time for sharing joy, spreading cheer, and of course, giving gifts. Join us on Tuesday for some festive activities and exclusive rewards, and yes, the Luminalia calendar will be back, so don't forget to claim your daily gifts. Now, if you're like me and you have a need for speed, you're in luck. This Saturday from 1800 UTC, our friends at Extreme G Racing will be hosting the 3rd annual Aurora All-Stars Grand Prix, where up to 20 Aurora pilots will go head-to-head to see who will reign supreme in high-octane races on Hurston. Catch the broadcast live over on Twitch. Speaking of races, this is the final call for anyone interested in testing their mettle in the filthiest race in the verse, the 2955 Daymar Rally. You have until December 17th to sign up, so don't miss your chance. Which Soul Provision will have an element in the Daymar Rally this year. Super excited for them. Wish them the best. I might be part of it. I don't remember if I told them I was going to or not, but it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to watch Soul Provision get after it. So good stuff there. To the bullet points, Monday we had This Week in Star Citizen. Tuesday, the lore post called 34,000 Beats. I'll do an executive kind of summary on that and not read everything. Luminalia 2954 commences on Wednesday. We have the roadmap update, the roadmap roundup, which we will get into in a couple of seconds. I think it's 2 or 3 segments from now. And then we will end today's episode going over the Inside Star Citizen video on 4.0 and the features that will be coming out. And then today, in about 2 hours, today we will see the RSI Weekly newsletter. And again, don't forget, daily you've got to go into Luminalia and claim your gift. So there you have it. We'll get into some of the Luminalia best practices. I actually made a video that went over on TikTok. Didn't put it on YouTube. Yeah, I didn't put it on YouTube because it was over a minute and I wanted it to be a short. So yeah, I have a video on how to get to Luminalia's calendar and how to claim that prize. But I can't stress it enough. People have forgotten in the past. You have to go in and click the claim, right? Click on the actual button. I'll show you how in the next couple of seconds. But first, let's go through some of this kind of low-hanging fruit news of last week. Here's this first one. This is the Best in Show Rewards update. Like, I still don't have, and most of you don't have, your BIS rewards in your hangar. So we all, if you own these vehicles, we should have the paint, we should have the banners and posters, like we should have all of that. I think I have the Reclaimer paint, and I've got the F8C banner, but nothing else. No posters, no paints for the other ships. Excuse me. So let's just read real quick. This is from December 9th from Tyler Whitkin, or Xylo, but Tyler Whitkin. Hi, everyone. We've seen a lot of questions about this year's Best in Show Rewards. After investigating, we discovered an issue with the distribution that resulted in some players not receiving their rewards while others who were ineligible did. Now that the issue has been resolved, we will soon be reclaiming all Best in Show rewards to start fresh and then redistributing them correctly. We'll be monitoring everything closely to ensure the process goes smoothly. The process can take some time to roll out to everyone, but we'll update this thread when fully complete. Thank you for your patience. I will say CIG's been struggling with in-game rewards for quite some time now. I go back to... let's just go recent to Safe Stanton. We had some laser repeater issues for the Size 2s and the Size 3s. Not getting credit for some of the phases when we clearly had 7 out of 6 times. Just do the math. That's enough. But we missed some of those. It makes me curious how Luminalia's giveaways are going to be. Yesterday's giveaway was just a Spectrum badge, so we don't have anything material to see, but maybe today will be the first material item. It'll be interesting to see if once you claim it, does it go directly to your hangar. I think there's a good chance for it because there's nothing really in game. It's not like you have to achieve something in game in order to get this added to your hangar. So I think we're in a good place. I think it's when the player is having to do something in game and how that talks to the item you're being awarded. I think there's a break there. Total assumption, but I think we're okay for Luminalia. Yeah, so we'll see. There's a couple events. There's Save Stand that's still going on, so that's big. The Luminalia, that's obviously still going on. And then as we launch into 4.0, the next phases of Save Stanton, like there's items attached to those as well, to include contested zones. So whatever the solution is, it needs to happen now. It's got to happen now. Otherwise, the backlog of items being rewarded, it's going to start building up. So, crossing our fingers. Okay. Are we doing this? Are we getting into Luminalia? Yeah, let's get into Luminalia. Do I want to do that, or do I want to do... You know what? Let's postpone. Actually, I want to get into 4.0 first. It's less to talk about. So, let's get into... Sorry, I'm doing like a live pivot here. Let's get into the 4.0 ePTU patch notes. Again, last night, late last night, it went from wave 4. I think it might have went from wave 4 to all backers. So you'll see here on my screen, I'm going to highlight the audience was wave 4, potentially further if stability and interaction delays improve. They all improved and it was good. So this latest patch note releases here has been released to all backers. So there you go. It is full in the PTU. 4.0 is in the PTU. Now we talked about it last week. Does that mean that CIG succeeded? That they got 4.0 out before the end of the year? I sure hope not. Because I don't consider the PTU as official. And I don't think CIG does either. I truly don't. Jared wouldn't have said we're still aiming to get it out this year had this been the case. So, I mean, we're here. The next step is going live. There is no other step. So now it's just a matter of, do they dial back from the 46500? Again, the 46500, that is 4 servers in Stanton, 6 servers in Pyro, with a max head count or gamer cap at 500 for the entire shard. They could theoretically dial it back a little bit just to improve stability. They could do a 46380. Right? They could if they wanted to look at the improvement. But I think this is it, guys. I mean, this is it. There's no other step to take. They could try pushing a 4.6-1000 and just see if they can hit that 1000 player cap. But at this point, it's enough. In my opinion, it's enough. You can make that 1000 head count a stretch goal for dynamic server meshing whenever that's supposed to come out. But I think, in my opinion, you already know it's going to be a pretty rough patch. It always is, and that's fine. I'd personally play it safe, and maybe 500 is safe, right? But even if they have to go, I mean, hell, listen. Even if they have to go down to 100 players like it currently is, I think the community would be okay with that. It's going to be dead and desolate. You're not going to find anybody because you're across 2 completely different systems. But even if they have to go down to 100, I'm okay with that personally. Personally, I'm okay with that. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out very soon, everybody. The next time that you hear from me, we will more than likely be in Pyro. So yeah, there's really nothing else. I've been briefing this every podcast. There's nothing really new on this patch other than the build going to everybody. Still looking at server meshing, still looking at the new locations, mission refactor, contested zones. That's obviously a huge thing that is coming out as well. Jump points, advanced HUD view, and home location instance hangar spawning. This one's actually huge. Share my screen just so you can see me highlight it. The home location instance hangar spawning. This is why this is important. There is a finite amount of habs. So imagine, if you will, Seraphim Station. Seraphim Station has several floors, right? Several floors of several habitations, but it's finite. And so when they launched 4.0, and Seraphim Station was a bad example, but let's go to Orison. When they launched 4.0, an entire community, let's say it's 500 people on a shard. Let's just say, let's say sole provision. Like, we start in Orison. It's 270 of us. So if 270 of us in sole provision decide Orison right when 4.0 drops, the queue time is ridiculous. You're going to be waiting on a habitation for quite a significant amount of time, potentially. So what they're trying to do is, if you pick Orison, you instead spawn in your personal instanced hangar, which those are infinite because they're instanced. They're pulled out from the real-time server. So theoretically, you shouldn't have an issue. You log in and you log directly into your hangar. And I have mixed emotions about this. It's weird, guys, and I know some of y'all are going to either agree or disagree with me. I have mixed feelings about this because I am playing Star Citizen for a role-playing factor. In real life, would you sleep in your hangar? Do you sleep in your garage now? Right? Like, I don't know, it feels weird. Like, what's the lore? What's the story? What is the role-playing factor of launching into your hangar? Now, if they create... Now, I'm coming up with this on the fly here. If they create like a suite, like a living arrangement along the sides of your hanger. Like, it gets nicer with the bigger of a hanger you have. Okay, now we're on to something. That'd be kind of cool to also have an office, right? So you can have a living space, living quarters, and like your office where you can host meetings and stuff. Okay, now we're getting into some sexy conversations. But in this current moment, you're launching literally into your hanger. I don't know. It makes sense technically, you know, technologically, it makes sense. Good Lord. But I don't know. It's good for 4.0. Sorry, I'm like stammering over here. It's good for what they're trying to accomplish initially in 4.0. I think they just need to land the plane, no pun intended. They need to land the plane on what that future state looks like. Because I like the idea of really logging out of a habitation and logging into a habitation. I don't know, makes sense to me. However, my personal game style, I log in and out of my bed, of my ship in space. That to me is what I'd probably do in real life. So that's a big one. That's a big one to kind of get down. And then the roadmap around it, kind of the same kind of 4.0 feel. This is just confirming what we already know. So the following have changed their status to committed. Again, I don't think this is news for anybody. Space stations, contested zones, the asteroid bases, mission system refactor, and then the Mirai Guardian. So maybe the Mirai Guardian is news, but we were already told it was coming during IAE. So no real surprises there. I want to see more of the Mirai Guardian. It has the aesthetic as a Fury, but it's obviously going to be bigger. It's a heavy fighter. I'm interested to see its role in the game. Is it just another heavy fighter? Is it the Scorpius, but a Mirai version of the Scorpius? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting whenever that hits. So I probably won't be into it. I probably won't buy it. I have enough heavy fighters in my fleet. What about you? Is the Mirai Guardian something that you're looking at? Is it something that's important to you going into 4.0? And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of my 4.0 updates, and very, very possibly the last 4.0 update before it actually goes live. It's crazy. It's crazy if you think about it. All right, Luminalia. Let's get into this week's events. So for the next 12 days, we got this really, really fun event. It's one of my favorite events, in Star Citizen, just because it changes the aesthetics of the game, and I love the community aspects of what we're doing. Let's get into it. Here we go. All right, Luminalia, it's an annual holiday. I could just read you the executive summary. I'll finish with the executive summary. All right, Luminalia is an annual holiday celebrated by both the Banu and the humans on December 22nd. It began as the irregularly held Banu festival, Sikti Ifenga, which is known as the Glow Festival, which is marked by the lighting of ceremonial lamps that remained lit until their fuel was consumed for about 12 days. While the lamps were burning, all Banu, no matter their location, were considered one Suli, a group of cohabiting Banu who formed an alliance around a specific shared skill set. Today, Banu and humans commemorate Luminalia with gift exchanges, present hunts, glowing lights, food and drink, and gatherings of family, friends, business associates, and acquaintances. For more info on the holiday, click here for the Galactopedia. We're going to go over the latest lore drop that came on Tuesday. Stand by for that. All right, what does Luminalia entail? So you're going to get starter packs. There's special discounted starter packs, which you're looking at some of them here. You've got the Nomad, which is a white and blue paint. You've got the Titan, which is a white and blue paint. Then you've got the Origin 100, which is a red and green paint. And you've got the Cutter, which is a red and green paint. So these are starter packs that are going to be on discount. I think it's not 10 years. I think it's a 6 month. We'll take a look at one of them, but they usually have an extended LTI attached to it as well. So you got starter packs. You've got a referral program, which again, I've had one person ever take me up on the referral program to get a Dragonfly, and that was my brother. I never push this referral program, and I never will. But if you are, and I don't think this is pushing, this is just me telling you, if you are interested in playing Star Citizen and you haven't created an account yet, use my referral code and we both get this Mirai Fury, not Fury, that'd be nice, Mirai Pulse. It's a speeder bike, cannon on the front end, looks nice. It's really, really easy, or a really good way to get into tight spaces. It's great for whenever you land your ship, 500 meters to a click out from the objective. It allows you to get to your objective very quickly without flying your ship in. So good for bunker busters. It's a great ship. So if you want one, use my referral code. It's in the notes in the YouTube. It's in the notes on Spotify, and it's on our website now under the Luminalia webpage. So cool story. And now we've got the 11 days of Luminalia surprises. Again, I'm pretty sure it's been 12. I don't know. Brain fart. You tell me if it's not been 11 or if it's not been 12. But we have 11 days of Luminalia surprises, so starting on December 12th to December 22nd. We've already had day one, and day one was a Spectrum badge. It threw me for a curve because I clicked on it and it said, congratulations, you've claimed your item. I go to my hangar and it's not there. And I'm like, again, another claim issue that CIG has had. And then I realized it's actually on the back end as a Spectrum badge. So if you go to your settings, you go to profile, and under profile, you have the ability to select your badges. So I think mine right now is Legatus. So you change your status to whatever you want it to be, and there's Luminalia 2954. So you do get it. It's just not going to be anywhere other than your badge. So there you go. Don't know what today is. Obviously, we'll know in the next hour and 45 minutes. But you've got to go to this little button up here that I'm highlighting with my mouse. You've got to go to the calendar, or you can scroll down a little bit further. But you got to go to the calendar and click on the 1. Today, you got to go in and click on the 2, and so forth. Got to do it, guys. Got to do it. All right, we got special cargo delivery missions. This is actually fun news. Up until last night, I thought this was another thing that was broken. You'd go into your delivery missions and look for some sort of Luminalia mission, and it wasn't there. It wasn't until last night that we found out that it's unverified. Excuse me. It's unverified. So instead of like your main list of contracts, you have to go up and click the little shifter to switch things to unverified, then go down to delivery, and then you'll see the Luminalia delivery mission. So there are cargo delivery missions. I haven't done one yet because I just found out last night. I'll be doing them today. Super excited to get into them. But just something festive for you to do with you and your org mates. There's a screenshot contest. Nope, there's a video contest, Video contest of 30 seconds of giving a gift. Show us your special style of gift giving during Luminalia for the chance to win some fabulous gifts of your own. So if you're into that sort of thing, I know there's individuals in Supervision that are, but you can get into this and there's a chance to win something, which I think, do I have it here? Here we go. Yeah, the gift that keeps on getting video contest. Your rewards are, in first place, the Misk Starlancer Max in game with LTI. That's huge. Second place, the Anvil Terrapin Medic with LTI and Vitality Livery. And then in third place, you get the Crusader Intrepid with LTI and the Altair Livery. So there you go. Cool. Here's the calendar. So if I go in here and I click on 2, nothing's going to happen. You see a little thing cancels out. But if I come over and hit 1, it says, hey, you've already got this item. So you should be able to go back. I say should. We're going to find out. We're going to find out at 10 o'clock U.S. Central if you can go back and claim earlier days. I can now because I think it's before the 10 a.m. launch of day 2, but I don't think you can go back and claim earlier days. I think it actually has to be on the day. I could be wrong, but we're gonna find out and verify in the next couple minutes, hour and 42 minutes. And that's basically it, everybody. Here's your seasonal starter packs. Again, things are discounted. You get the livery, the festive liveries that come with it. There's also new gear. So you've got some cold front sweater jackets or puffy jackets. You've got some helmets. You also have a red and green armor set. You got the crimson red gear pack and the green sleeves gear pack. Last but not least, and I'm pretty sure this is last, your subscriptions are discounted. Your subscription, so it's either $10 a month or $20 a month. And you can go and do your comparisons to see which one is right for you. What I'm about to talk about really has nothing to do with comparing those two. It's whether or not you should get a subscription regardless. I don't know. There's a perk. If you are a subscriber, you get access to Wave 1 testing. Okay, so you were one of the first that were able to test the 4.0, right, after it left Evocati. So that's a perk. But I don't know, like the monthly items that you get for free, I don't know if they're worth $20. I go back to last December. I think last December the items were potted plants. I don't know. I don't know if 2 potted plants, because you have to buy the third one because that's a store offering. But you get 2 potted plants for $20. Is each one worth $10? And then the ships, you get to fly for a month, which is fine. I mean, that's a pretty decent perk. But I don't know if the subscription is necessarily worth it at this current moment. I've been a subscriber for 2.5, 3 years at this point. I mean, because I love the game and I want to support it, right? But I think the value proposition needs to get better. It needs to get better. And so I asked a poll. I think I went right to it. Nope. Boom, that's the cold jackets. Let me go back real quick. I might have to find this all over again. I asked a couple of polls on whether or not you were going to get one of the subscription discounts for this Luminalia. And it's funny, like it was here and I lost it. Bummer. It was only like 27 votes. So out of the 1.7 thousand impressions, we had 27 votes, and the majority were no, that they're not going to be getting the subscription. It's a lot of money. I mean, $200, $198 for the Imperator for the entire year. It's a lot of money to be dropping at one point in the game. And again, is it worth it throughout the rest of the year? That's for you to decide. But we did talk about the gear, and that is one of the polls that I kept up and I didn't reset. So here we go. So one of the polls I asked is, would you be getting one of the gears, the cold front jackets, the helmets, the green sleeves, or the crimson red? Again, here's your 1.1 or 1.2 thousand impressions or views, only 27 votes. So really no one's ecstatic about these items because you're paying real money for things. Cold front jackets won out at 37%. Then the crimson red geared pack at 29.6%. Neon helmets, Neoni helmets at 22.2%. And then your green sleeves gear pack at 11.1%. So I don't know, guys. Did you do it? Did you bite the bullet and spend money on gear or on the subscription passes? Super curious. Let us know. I didn't. I'm gonna continue being the Imperator. I'm gonna keep doing that for this next year, but I didn't pay money for the gear. So cool. I hope some of that resonated with you. It's not a lot different from last year's, but again, it's just a different way of spending time in the verse. And when reputation and items and money doesn't matter, because we're about to lose everything in 4.0, this is just something else to dive into, kill time, and the next thing you know it, before you blink, you're going to see 4.0 and the rest will be history. You'll be exploring new planets and seeing the dust clouds and nebula of Pyro, which are absolutely amazing. So, okay, referral bonus. We already talked about it, but here's the page for it. So if you want to, have questions or what exactly is the referral bonus, how do I get credit for it? There is an FAQ to it, so by all means, you can get into it. Here is the lore drop. Excuse me. Here's the lore drop for the portfolio 34,000 beats. This is basically the history of Luminalia. Here's what I did. And full transparency, I actually really enjoy doing this. I took this entire article, and it's long. It's a very, very, very long article. Read it. You want to give the writers the respect. They put in a lot of work to write this, please, by all means. Not going to lie. I went to ChatGPT and was like, hey, write an executive summary. So here we go. Here's the executive summary for the 34,000 beats of Luminalia. Here we go. The article explores the origins and traditions of Luminalia, a festive holiday celebrated across the UEE, focusing on why the celebration lasts exactly 34,000 beats. Initially rooted in Banu culture as the Glow Festival, Luminalia evolved significantly due to human influence. Despite persistent curiosity, the precise rationale behind the 34,000 beats remains speculative, with theories ranging from the burn time of ceremonial lamps to human-imposed standards. The key insights drawn from this article: Banu tradition. Early Banu explanations link the duration to lamp oil burn time, but their culture prioritizes what over why, leaving historical motivations unclear. Scholarly theories. Scholars have posited numerological and ritualistic origins, though none hold definitive evidence. Human influence. Humans standardize the holiday's timing, December 22nd, and its lamp oil to ensure clean and consistent burn times, making 34,000 beats a de facto norm. This standardization stemmed from commercial interests and public safety concerns during the holiday's early adoption. Ultimately, the author concludes that the specific duration is less important than the unifying spirit of Luminalia itself. The tradition's true value lies in fostering connection and joy among family, friends, and strangers, embodying the essence of the festival regardless of its origins. There you go. Not bad, ChatGPT. Not bad. It's funny, I do that at work a lot. We have an internal tool. It's not ChatGPT because it's not a protected source, but we have an internal tool at Amazon that we use, and I'll do that. I'll take, a 3YP, a quarter business review, a weekly business review, and I'll throw that into the AI tool and have it tell me the executive summary. It's a really good way to get, context to what you're about to read. So context before content. There you go. Last but not least, Inside Star Citizen Patch Report. I think this is a very good episode to fall out on. This is the last Inside Star Citizen before the end of the year, and obviously before 4.0 actually releases. So this one's huge. It's a huge teaser for what to expect in the next couple of days when 4.0 drops. It's it's what you can expect in the game in the next couple of days. And I'll end my piece on this. I still think it'll launch very soon in the next couple of days, maybe before next Tuesday, so that way we have the end of next week to adjust. Here's what you can expect from 4.0.
It's December, and teams and studios around the world are working diligently to release Alpha 4.0 into all players' hands before the end of this year. And on this last ISC of 2024, we're going to take some time to revisit many of the aspects that we hope will make this patch the biggest in Star Citizen yet. So let's jump on in with Patch Report 4.0. Oh, and remember, this is just a quick summary. If you're looking for an in-depth, nitty-gritty of each feature, check out all those dedicated episodes we just did. You'll learn more from the developers than you ever will from me. So let's do it.
It's hard to pick the most important element of Star Citizen Alpha 4.0, but any conversation must start with the arrival of server meshing, the underlying technology that will increase player capacity and server performance for years to come, with its first iteration allowing for the largest expansion of Star Citizen's universe yet. And you'll get to that expansion through our first jump point, connecting the Stanton system we've known and watched evolve since 2015 with the nascent Pyro system, as players and spacecraft alike traverse back and forth between two different star systems. Of course, once you get to the Pyro system, you'll encounter a new array of space stations and asteroid bases, each providing opportunities and challenges galore as you navigate the worlds of Pyro's various factions like Rough and Ready, Headhunters, and the Citizens for Prosperity. And within these locations, you'll discover my pick for most exciting new feature of Alpha 4.0, the contested zones, where citizens will battle it out against NPC and player alike, solving puzzles, holding positions, and moving from zone to zone for a whole host of interesting and unique rewards that will continue to grow in subsequent patches.
I had to. These planets are so beautiful. Like I think Microtech is like hands down the most aesthetically pleasing planet in Stanton. Every planet in Pyro is just breathtaking. I think these are just incredible work.
Then, when you're ready to explore further, the planets and moons of Pyro offer 11 new terrestrial locations full of adventure and commercial advantage aplenty, with its 6 planets and 5 moons playing host to a variety of encounters to discover in settlements independent, outlaw, and derelict alike. Junkyards where new mission types can be found, and even farms for those looking for a more peaceful life. And within and around those points of interest, you might encounter one of Star Citizen's growing library of creatures, with the addition of multiple quasi-grazer variants, the not quite domesticated Copion in service of their captors, and even the small and diminutive Alaprat. Then beneath the surface of Pyro's planets and moons, and Stanton's for that matter, new caves to be found in styles of rock, sand, and acidic beckon the brave adventurer to plunge their depths and conquer whatever creatures lie within. And throughout it all, 4.0 also includes the next major step forward in our ongoing economy overhaul and mission system refactors, with continuing adjustments to vehicle components, consumable weapons like missiles and torpedoes, fuel prices, mission rewards, and much more. And in FOIP news, those improvements demonstrated at this year's CitizenCon also arrive in the upcoming Alpha 4.0, including head rotation tracking, camera stabilization, a greater range of motion for big mouths, and overall refinements to the tracking algorithm itself. And then of course, we can't forget spaceships, where the Anvil Carrick blast shields and opening cargo doors make their long-awaited debut. Let's just see that whole animation there. Yeah, splash shields. Do your thing. Also,
It's all great. It's all great, but like we still don't have the cargo doors that go all the way down to the ground. So in this video, the Carrick is parked on a landing pad next to a freight elevator that you're not going to be able to get shit in. So, come on, guys. That Carrick garage needs to be lowered.
What's this mean for the Caterpillar doors? You're gonna get those soon? Should we cut that out? Let's go ahead and leave that comment, shall we?
quantum travel gets its next evolution with new variations to acceleration rates, fuel consumption, and maximum speeds based on each quantum drive's grade and class. And of course, we have to mention the legendary Space Wolf itself. The Mirai Guardian makes its presence known and looks to reckon with anyone that called it the Fat Fury in the past. We're just gonna sit quiet and look at the Guardian fly around for a bit. Ooh, I've seen the previews on the trailer. I don't have anything to do with it, but it looks really cool. It's going to be a good trailer when it comes.
All in all, Alpha 4.0 is shaping up to be the start of a new chapter in the continuing story of Star Citizen's development. And while this will be the last time that we see each other before the new year, keep your eyes on the robertsspaceindustries.com website and social accounts for more details about its upcoming release. And from everyone here at Inside Star Citizen, thanks so much for letting us share the people and process of game development with you. Enjoy your holidays, spam John Crew with jalopy for me, and we'll see you all here next year.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, it's huge. I mean, it's huge. We will not recognize the game when this drops. And it's so easy to get excited and you know, I do this all the time in our Discord, but man, I can't wait for XYZ. We're almost there. Like, we're almost there. And I've only been part of the game for 3 years. And we have people in our org that have been here since 2015. Like, they've been here for the entire ride. It's hard to believe that we're almost there. And when we do, it's gonna be this immediate, like, oh, it's broken, they released it too early. You're not gonna hear that here. That's not what we do. That's not my brand. It's not my brand. We recognize the technological advances, the issues. We call those out. We are constructively critical when those things happen, but we're not going to have a podcast that's just based on bitching about it. So rest assured that you're in a good place. Whenever this does drop, you'll have a safe space to vocalize your rightfully earned concerns. So before I let you guys go, I do want to jump onto our website, and I want to showcase our website real quick because we have a giveaway. We are giving away a Drake cutter with LTI, with Icebreak livery, and of course the Star Citizen digital download. And you can do so here on our home website, so www.beyondtheversehq.com. If you go to soulprovision.com, it'll take you to our specific Soul Provision page, but essentially the same experience. You're going to come here. The announcement bar has the button that you can click on. Don't forget to subscribe to our email address. We haven't sent out a monthly email yet. We're going to wait until the end of the year, and then we're going to start having a monthly email. We just have, you know, here are the giveaways, here's some polls, here's some basically like a short little podcast each month that's easy and quick to digest. But here we go. Giveaway Drake cutter. We put a video of the cutter pulled from Galactopedia. The Icebreak liveries, the white and blue paint, and then of course the Star Citizen digital download. You can click here, enter as well. So either the announcement bar, the enter, it'll take you to this page that you can see now. This is a Google form. Fill it out. The question for this entry is, what has been the oddest gift you ever either received or given for the December holidays? And we already have some hilarious entries. I'm going to go back to previous entries or contests, and we're going to put those results, agnostic of names, so we're not doxing anybody, but we're going to put those results in our gallery section of the website so you have access to see how everybody responded. So I think that's really exciting as well. So there you have it. Website, if you want to join us on all social media platforms, you can find everything on the podcast at beyondtheversehq.com, and then everything in our in-game organization, Soul Provision, at www.soulprovision.com. Happy Luminalia. Happy pre-4.0. I think by the next time we talk, we'll be in 4.0. Safe travels as you traverse Beyond the Verse. Take care, everybody.